All right, here we go with day 11. So just got done with my meditation. So I'm going to see what I can find here. I was thinking about a little bit about yesterday's video too, about how the mind tries to stop us from doing stuff. So when I was looking through my notes, the ego versus spirit kind of came up with it, and I was thinking of just sharing a little bit about that. Like the ego uses your thoughts to identify who you are, so that's why and like it gives you every reason why you can't do something or why you shouldn't do something, or why you're not good enough to do something. It's basically the source of all limiting beliefs, but it even goes a little bit deeper than that too. So we'll talk about that here in a second too. But like your spiritual center is I am the awareness of my thoughts. And I thought that is like the spirit, how I was talking about, like, I'm going to do it anyway, no matter what the brain says. Because it's always going to give us reasons why we can't do stuff, shouldn't do stuff. And like, and then they got some of the biases that it likes to do, like the brain loves certainty. Like anytime we're uncertain or we're uncomfortable when we haven't done something before, it'll give us every reason in the world why we can't do it. And then we're like, well, maybe it's right. When really and then even when you're so used to doing something in a certain way and things get uncomfortable, like even me getting in front of this camera was uncomfortable at first. But then you got to fight through that uncomfortableness, because when we do something for the first time, we're always uncomfortable because we don't know how to do it. I mean, yeah, some people just get right in and do it. I mean, yeah, you can, but that's because they overcame that fear, that uncomfortableness. And the thing is it's always going to be there. Anything new that we want to try is going to be uncomfortable in the beginning, but then you're going to learn how to do it. I mean, sure, first day of school was always hard. You didn't know who was in your class. So I was always nervous first day of school. I mean, I was kind of excited too, but at the same time, I was like not knowing what the class was going to be about or who I was going to meet or who we are going to talk to. And then usually within a week or two, you've met some people, you've had some conversations, class starts to go, and then you flow with it. So like with anything in life, like I didn't know how anybody was going to respond to this. I didn't know if they'd like it. I didn't know if I'd be able to do it. I didn't know if I could get in front of the camera. And then I just went. I said I have to do it anyway. My spirit was like, no, it's time to go, man. We just got to go. Like I started this right after a seminar. I was like, all right, it's time. I got to go. Now again, I went back and forth and let the brain stop me for a while, and then the spirit would push me forward. So it's like anything in life. You, and either know Rocky, when God, what's that? When your spirit cries never, like never give up, like no matter what. So, but the brain always wants it gets used to stuff. So when you see uncertainty, like we won't do certain things because we're uncertain of what the outcome's going to be. But the problem is that stops us from doing stuff sometimes. It stopped me from years from doing stuff like this because I was so uncertain of what was going to happen that I let my mind get in the way, let all these limiting beliefs get in the way. But they're always going to be there every day. Like even today, before I got up and did my meditation, I was still laying around for a little bit. But I forced myself to get up and then get in this flow and then get on here and see what comes out. And that's the thing with anything, is that you just go see what's going to happen. Step into a room and just observe and see what's going to happen. So, and then there's another one, like pain avoidance. Like we'll do anything to avoid pain and seek pleasure. And it's just that's the way it is. Like we try to avoid pain at all costs. We don't want to do something because it might be painful. But then again, maybe we need to experience that pain, sit with it, be with it, and then transmute that pain into action. I know in my life there's been several times where I had a painful experience and had to fight through it and push my way through it and get I quit smoking when I was 20 years ago. It was one of the hardest things I ever did. And it sucked. It was tough. I couldn't sleep. I had all the withdrawals. It was a very, very, very tough thing to do. But then, since my parents had done it before me, so they just kept saying it'll get better, it'll get better, it'll get better, and I trusted that, and I just kept going, and then they were right, it did get better. So that's the thing, is like anything in life that we try to do, it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning, but then you get used to it, and then you sit down here, get in the chair, and start talking, or whatever it is you choose to do. but it's usually that, first step that's the hardest. I mean, God, I went, I went on a spirit. The first time I went on a meditation retreat, I drove to Jacksonville, Florida, and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to leave this time, and I'll stop in Georgia. I'll stop outside of Atlanta and I got a hotel room. So I get there. It was like 3 in the morning, and I check in, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And something's dripping in the ceiling, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I got to get some sleep. I'll just put a towel there. So I put the towel down underneath the drip, and then I'm laying down, and all of a sudden it starts to drip a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. Next thing you know, boosh, and there's a river of water coming. I called the front desk. I was like, "Yeah, there's water coming out of the ceiling." They're like, "Is it dripping?" I was like, "No, it's like a waterfall." They're like, "Oh, we'll send someone down." I was like, "Well, can I get a different room?" They're like, "We don't have any other rooms." But at the time, I was so uncomfortable to go to a next hotel and walk in there and do it that I didn't. So I just got back in my car and drove all the way down. And when I got to Jacksonville, I had been out for like 26 hours. I might have been mildly hallucinating, and I wanted to turn around and go home because my body was so like uncertain about what this week was going to be. Like before the meditation retreat, my brain was telling me, no, we should just not go. We shouldn't do that. It was giving me every reason in the book to get back in my car and drive back to Michigan. And obviously, I fought through that. I said, no, I'll just get some sleep. I'll go check in. I'll kind of come back here and I'll relax. And then it ended up being one of the greatest things I had ever done. When I walked out of there, I drove home from Jacksonville nonstop, and I felt like I was on air. I was so excited. It like opened something up in me that I had never done before. So, but in the beginning, I was nervous. It's that uncertainty of what was going to happen. But my soul knew what was going to happen, that I was going to be transformed, so it wouldn't let me leave. So but that's the thing. The brain is so crazy, man. Like I was saying the other day, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. I mean, we're all afraid of something. I, we are. I know I am. I'm still got fears. But you know what? I'm in a better position to say, you know what? I'm going to step through and try to see what happens. And I know it's not going to be perfect the first time, so you just might as well do it and then keep going and adjust as you go along. Yeah, sorry, I'm reading a little bit, so I probably should have been a little bit more prepared, but this is what it is. So I guess that's the message of the day is that your brain's always going to give you all the reasons in the world why not to do something. I mean, it's just the mind, it's the way we are. We're going to avoid pain and seek pleasure. We're going to be uncomfortable in situations we don't know. I mean, there are six basic human needs. And I know like certainty and uncertainty, like some people like certainty, some people love uncertainty. Dr. Joe Dispenza always talks about getting in that moment and stepping into that uncertainty because that's where the real magic lies is in that uncertainty because then you get in that moment where you're uncertain and then you can figure out what it is as you go. And that's something created new where if you do the certain stuff all the time, you already know the pattern that you've created over the years. I know what's going to happen if I continue to do what I did before I started doing this, and that was nothing. So and then the other, so it's certainty, uncertainty, and variety, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. So those are like the six basic human needs that we all need one way or another. And they say usually like two of them dominate your life, and then if you want to make a change, you usually take those two and do the opposite for the most part. Like I want certainty all the time. I want to know what's going to happen before it happens. And if I don't know what the outcome is before it happens, I used to like not do that. But now I'm getting more comfortable with saying, you know what, let's just see what happens. Let's do it and see what happens and then go from there. And then I think my other one was probably either growth or significance, maybe, because sometimes I didn't feel significant, maybe. And but now I see that from all the people that I've listened to videos have made me see that they have impacted my life. So I feel like I need to be that person too, and maybe I can help impact somebody else's life. Because I love seeing everybody's different view and perspective, because sometimes they can see stuff that I can't. And I'm hoping now that I can see something that other people can't. And I'm still open. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm never going to stop growing. I mean, we all don't. I mean, obviously, we all know what stops that, but I'm not going to say it. But like, that's about the only way we stop our growth is the D word, and it's not. And get your minds out of the gutter. It's not that D word. It has to do with the Grim Reaper. But anyway, so yeah. So my message is, hey, just see what it is, do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Because the only way you're going to get comfortable with doing stuff that you're uncomfortable doing is to step into it, feel that discomfort. It's okay to feel uncomfortable in a situation. We feel like that anxiety, everybody's got anxiety problems. Yeah, I do too. But that anxiety is that anticipation of something greater. We just, when we feel it, we don't realize that's what we're feeling. We're feeling an anticipation of what could come next. But then we're like, oh no, I don't like these situations, so we step out of them. And then we won't do it because I don't want to feel that anxiety, when actually that anxiety is that next moment, that uncomfortable feeling that will project and make you feel comfortable the more you do it. I was uncomfortable as hell doing this in the beginning. I'm getting a little bit better at it every day. Every video I go, I get a little more excited, a little more energy, a little more, being me, letting it out. I still haven't let the whole true authentic me out yet. I'm starting to get that, excitement and like, hey, who cares? This is who I am. So I challenge all of you to do the same thing, and just be yourself. Like I've always said, just be you. Do it. Let it flow through you. Be that person. I am him. I am her. Whoever you are, that person. Just be that person. So that's my message for the day.